want to share a few thoughts that I saw about this very, very powerful day, the last night of Chanukah, Zos Chanukah. And the tzaddikim say that it's a very, very special day and night. And there's a lot of power embedded in this day that we can tap into. What a simple person could accomplish on the 8th day of Chanukah, even the greatest of tzaddikim couldn't accomplish on Yom Kippur by Ne'ilah. That is one of our traditions about Zos Chanukah. So it's something very, very, very powerful. The Kedushas Levi says that the 8th night of Chanukah represents, the number 8 represents above and beyond nature. 7 symbolizes nature and 8 symbolizes beyond nature. And what that means for us is that this is a day that we have the ability to daven for things that are beyond nature. This is the day to daven for things that are impossible, for salvations that we need, for things that we need, that maybe during the year we're like, am I really going to daven for this? Because it doesn't seem very likely at all that this could happen. But tonight and tomorrow is the day. This is the day. We daven for open miracles on Zos Chanukah. So I want to try to understand a little bit what is the power of this day. There's this idea that we mentioned that it's the final gemar, the final chasima of the judgment of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and I've long struggled to understand what that means. We know that Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment. Okay, I can understand the concept of a 2-step process. There's a judgment that is decreed, and then there's 10 days of teshuvah, and then there's this sealing, the chasima of Yom Kippur. Okay, but we did it. We sealed it on Yom Kippur. We sealed it at Ne'ilah. What does it mean that 2+ months later we have another opportunity to seal the din, the judgment of the year? Like, is that meant to be taken literally? Does that mean like the judgment is actually not completed yet? Does it mean it is completed, but we can change it somehow in a way that we otherwise can't? So for a while, I just didn't understand this. So I kind of left it as a question. I had the faith in the tzaddikim that this is a powerful day, and I don't need to know more than that. I don't really need to know the system of judgment in heaven to know that the tzaddikim tell us that this is a very, very powerful day. But last year I came across, for the first time, something that resonated so powerfully with me. And that is in the book, in the Sefer B'yam Darkecha. It was very easy for me to find it this year because he writes for like 10 pages about the topic. All I had to do was look for the one I circled in big letters, and I know that this is the one. This is the part that I read. He says something so powerful. So I would introduce it by saying, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we daven for a good year. I don't know anybody who on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur doesn't daven for a good year, or davens for, and I don't know anybody who would daven for a year that they would perceive as bad. Like, we know what we like in life, and we know what we want, and we daven that everything should be wonderful. Okay? Now it's 2 months later, and it's time for a reality check. Now it's 2 months later, and the year has already started, it's already kicked off, things are happening, and not necessarily is everything all rosy and beautiful as we've davened. Okay, now I'm going to read the words that he writes. He says, the power of Zos Chanukah is the ability for us to do something that's called hamtakas hadin, which means to sweeten the judgment. And he says, certainly what was decreed on Yomim Noraim, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, is what it is. It will be what it will be. It has already been decreed. But on Zos Chanukah, we have the ability to see Hashem, to see the divine presence, and we're able to show how within every single gezerah, that means every single thing that's happening to us, is only the light of Hashem, and also the things that are not yet happening to us, or the things that we wanted that are not happening, is also the will of Hashem and the light of Hashem. And somebody who's able to see this, right away he has this hamtakas hadin, he has a sweetening of judgment. Because in everything that will happen to him, he will see Hashem, and he will not see din, and he will not see tsar, and he will not see hastara. He will only see good. What a powerful idea. What he's saying is, it's not that we're changing, we have a magical ability to change what the din was. No, the din doesn't change. Our perspective on the din changes. After 8 nights of Chanukah, 8 nights of focusing on how everything in this world is only done by Hashem and orchestrated by Hashem. We've lit the menorah, we've looked at those lights, we recognize that everything that Hashem does is absolutely, unquestionably for our good. And now we have a whole new lens on what our Gezar Din is. So we're 2 months later, we're looking over the last couple months. Since Rosh Hashanah, how's my life coming along? I davened for this and I haven't gotten that yet. I didn't daven for this and I got something I got something I don't like. There's things that we want that we don't have, and there's things that we don't want that we do have. And now is the day that we have the power to realize that this is all from Hashem. And this is all exactly what we need to be going through right now. This is all bringing us to the place that Hashem wants to lead us to. And right away, all this judgment disappears. All the pain disappears when we feel that this is from Hashem. And he says that's why, based on this lens, which by the way, of course, it's not an 8th day Chanukah idea. It's just something we have a power to tap into now. But certainly we want to try to focus on this all year round, is a special segula that he says that when a person has a tzara that's happening to him, he either says or thinks. It's not really about saying, it's really about focusing on the 3 words of Ein Od Milvado. There is nothing else besides Hashem. And that's basically pulling the veil off of the Yetzer Hara, off of the Satan. When something's happening and it's stressful and it's difficult and it's annoying, and all of a sudden we call out and we believe there is nobody but Hashem, and Hashem is doing everything for us to bring us to the place that He wants to bring us to, all of a sudden, that's it, you've called it out. That's called Hamtakas Adin. You've called it out. You've shown that everything is really from Hashem. And that's what we're doing on the 8th day of Chanukah. That's what we're doing. We're realizing that the year that we want is precisely the year that Hashem wants for us. That's really what we're realizing. And focusing on however Hashem is guiding me. Yeah, we might be radically off script from the petition that I put in on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And now, I don't know, Hashem's sending me a different way, and I asked for this and I haven't gotten it yet. And who knows what's going on. Now it's a time to kind of recalculate and realize that Hashem is bringing us exactly to the place that He wants to bring us to. And that is the ultimate sweetness. That makes that no matter what's going on, all of a sudden we can feel much more calm about it, knowing that we're in the loving embrace and guidance of Hashem. And I want to share one more idea to build on that point that I saw as well. So, all right, I'm not going to go into all the context here, but I'm reading from the Sefer Eish HaMoadim, and he talks about thanking Hashem. Of course, Chanukah is a time of Hallel and Hodah, and we thank Hashem for what we have. And he makes a bit of a technical inference from one of the verses that we say on Chanukah, that it appears that in some way we fight with Hashem, so to speak, and now we're coming to agree to Hashem, and that's part of the theme of Chanukah. Okay, we don't have to focus on that. Let's just try to understand, what does that mean? He says, okay, what do I mean to say that we fight with Hashem? So he says as follows. He says every person at the depth of his neshama is pretty often trying to, kind of disagree with the guidance of Hashem. It's like, okay, Hashem thinks this for my good, but really, if it was a little different, it would be nice. And that doesn't mean you don't believe. That doesn't mean you're not a believing Jew. It doesn't mean you don't have the emunah. On the contrary, we want good. We want to connect to Hashem. We want to do good. But we have this concept that if things would be better, we'd be better Jews. As an example, if I would have more of a parnasa, he says, if I wouldn't be missing anything, then it would be much better for Hashem's sake. For the sake of the Shekhinah, it would be much better. You know why? I don't have to stress about making a livelihood. I could focus on serving Hashem all day. I could daven and learn and do mitzvahs all day. And then I'd be able to serve Hashem from a place of a clear mind and a focused heart. And what do I need all these problems that get in the way in that? But he says Hashem in Shemayim, He knows. He knows exactly what is coming your way. And He wants your work. He wants us to try to connect to Him through all of the challenges that this world throws at us, which He created, by the way. He created us in this world where there's a lot of distractions that hold us back from connecting to Him, because He wants us to push through that and he wants us to serve him throughout all of that. He says a person's natural desire is, no, I don't want to be in this world, okay? When I say natural desire, I mean the natural desire of the neshama, of the soul. The body has its own natural desires. But the neshama just wants to connect to Hashem. So the neshama just wants to elevate and grow and come closer and closer and closer. And Hashem says, no, I'm not looking for you to have this perfect, pure spirituality. I want to see you fight with the physicality of this world. I want you to eat. I want you to sleep. You can see this is a modern book here. He says, I want you to deal with the banks. I want you to deal with your business. I want you to deal with everything that you got to deal with. And from that place, I want you to try to serve Hashem as much as possible. He says such a powerful line here. He says, Hashem wants us to elevate our physical world. You know why Hashem doesn't need our pure spirituality? He has enough of that upstairs. In heaven, there's enough spirituality. It's okay, Hashem doesn't need your spirituality. He has enough angels serving him. He didn't create us to be perfect angels. He created us to fight through the physical world and connect to him with that. And I want to just end off with a short story. He says, I was sharing this with a few of you recently from the Chose of Lublin, that I think is just mind-blowing. So the Chose of Lublin, the Chose means like the seer. So he was able to see things, see spiritual worlds that most people cannot see. So one of his abilities was he had the ability to look at one of his students and tell him, I know what you davened for today. I know what you prayed to Hashem for. And I know what Hashem answered back, so to speak. Meaning what the response in heaven was to your prayer. So he turned to one student. He says, I know that you prayed this morning that if Hashem would give you a massive amount of wealth and you could quit your job and you don't have to worry about your parnasa anymore, you guaranteed Hashem, you made a promise to heaven that you're going to dedicate your entire life to Torah and Tefillah, to Torah study and davening to Hashem. And the Chose Lublin says that the response to that was a giant laughter from heaven. And what was heaven's response? Heaven's response was, they don't need your Torah and your Tefillah upstairs. They don't. That's not what they need. You know what they need? They need you to fulfill your mission for which you were brought into this world. Your tikkun that Hashem wants you to fulfill, that's what they want you to do. That's it. They don't have one agenda. I want you to focus on these things. They have a mission that you were sent here for. So the second you promised that if you hit the mega millions, you're going to quit your job and only learn Torah and only daven all day. That's going to be your entire connection to Hashem, which, by the way, is not bad at all. It's an incredible level of spirituality. But you just dug it on your own because Hashem said that wasn't the mission that I put you here for. So what does that mean? I don't know. We can interpret it how we want to, but it could mean that Hashem wants him to learn and daven as much as he can from a struggle with parnasa, with his livelihood. You know, we can build out the example, but just the final takeaway here, I think, is so powerful. It's not about trying to change, fight with Hashem and change everything that Hashem has planned for us. It's about realizing that Hashem only has our best interest in mind, and everything that Hashem gave us, the Gezar Din, the plan that is set out for us over this year, is exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need. And now our lens changes and we say, Einod Malvada, we say, Hashem, I see it's you, and I'm just going to be with you all the way. No matter where you take me this year, I'm here, I'm with you, and whatever you throw my way, I'm going to try to serve you, serve Hashem, as much as possible throughout the year. So we should be zocha to internalize this idea, take this into the year. Of course, we need to take it to go. You take an energy from a special day of Yom Tov, you put it in your pockets, put this in your pockets, take it to go. There's something we need to really chew on all year.